Well, my boy Ross Gerber is back at it again, making headlines. Last time it was for wanting to challenge the Tesla board of directors and run for a seat on the board at Tesla. This time around, it's not being spun as the best news that Ross Gerber has gotten himself into. Ross Gerber visited Dan O'Dodd. Dan O'Dodd, if only you knew Dan O'Dodd. Dan O'Dodd is a dude who's run this technology company, a legacy-style technology company that's created software that has been used by the likes of the government and in ADAS software, and essentially runs a company that provides software that competes to some extent with Tesla's full self-driving. And Dan O'Dodd has made it his mission to be critical of FSD and Elon Musk and Tesla, even though allegedly he owns an original Tesla Roadster, though it's worth noting the original Tesla Roadster, which I also once owned, doesn't have any FSD. It's just a dressed up Lotus Elise with a battery pack in it. So, what do we have with Dan O'Dodd and Ross Gerber? And did we just get another price a downgrade from another Wall Street bank? Yes. In fact, we'll talk about both Morgan Stanley's downgrade for Tesla and Goldman Sachs' downgrade for Tesla in just a moment. But first, we have to look at something that unfortunately is not so great. Now, I'm going to give my commentary on this and my suspicions on this. I live approximately 40 minutes away from where this incident occurred. So when I feel better, I will visit this area and conduct my own sort of research and investigation into this. But I will tell you, upon first viewing this clip, I was very disappointed I'll give you my commentary after I play it. So let's go ahead and play this clip, which is unfortunate because I want to say that I truly believe in my heart Ross Gerber went to visit Dan O'Dodd to show Dan O'Dodd the light, to show Dan O'Dodd how great full self-driving has become and how far it's gone. The problem is, and this is what happens when you enter the pig pen, so to speak. You know, when they say, what's the saying? When you wrestle with pigs, you get muddy or you get poop all over yourself. This isn't to say that anybody's a pig particularly. It's just to say when you wrestle with haters, you know, you say one thing wrong and 99 things correctly, people will only elevate the one thing that was wrong. And Ross Gerber had a sit-down interview with this gentleman. I think people should listen to it. And he spent an hour driving on FSD in Santa Barbara in almost a perfect manner, with the exception of this one clip. And this one clip is the only thing the internet cares about. Of course it is, because that's how the internet works. But anyway, anybody who actually uses FSD knows whole well that FSD is not perfect. You have to pay attention, especially at those edge case scenarios. If you are a Tesla owner, you know where those edge cases are. I get onto certain highways, I'm like, the car makes me a little uncomfortable here, I take over. I get to certain intersections, I'm like, I'm going to take over in these areas. The more people feel uncomfortable in those areas, though, ironically, the less the car is able to train itself in those areas. But then again, people don't want to actually crash, right? So anyway, I'm going to show a clip which doesn't look very good. There is context missing, though, substantial context missing from this clip when you see it. And I think it's worth actually seeing another clip before this, just as sort of a preview and my response to Omar on Twitter. He's always posting excellent commentary on Tesla, and that was right here. He says, yesterday I had to take over to prevent my Tesla from running a red light due to a weirdly angled traffic light. It responded to the wrong light. Basically, over here on the right, the light turns green and the car starts moving for Omar's interaction. There it is right here. But he's actually got a red. There it is. This one versus this one. Anyway, I commented right here. I said, humans make this mistake daily. Ever sit in a left turn? Excuse me. Oh, gosh. Ever sit in a left turn and see the right/straight lanes hit the gas when the left turns green? If you're a driver, you know that feeling. You've probably done it yourself because humans do that all the time. And so what I wrote is FSD will eventually not make that mistake, but humans will always make that mistake. That's why full self-driving is seen as at least 2.5, if not 10 times as safe as a human driver without any ADAS. So, with that said, and with the prefaces out of the way, and yes, you can't remove all of your biases. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows I'm a Tesla investor. Tesla's, it's in my fund. It's exposed personally. All of that, right? But I always like to look at things objectively. And I have to say, when I first watched this video, I was very disappointed. But I'll show some context afterwards. So let's go ahead and start. Well, we're not really starting anymore, but let's get into the actual clippity-doodly dada here.
No, she's not a real deadhead. She's never seen the dead. All right, here we go. We're going to get killed by this guy.
It's on FSD.
Now, in real life, I would not wait for this. All right. I disengaged. Yeah.
Elon took over.
See, I would have just gone by it.
Ross took over.
That. It hesitated, then it decided to go by it, and then it was like, no.
This is a problem.
But, oh. There we go.
That was you braking?
I braked.
Yeah. It didn't crash.
I wasn't going to wait and find out because I saw the two cars going at each other, so I wasn't going to test that one.
Okay, so that was obviously not a very good look. Now we can break this down right here. There's been a lot of speculation around this. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Before we break this down, you need to see context. The context that was very, very important, that is highly missing from this video. Highly missing from this video. And you should not go a second further without this context. Is this. Look at where the stop sign is actually positioned. The stop sign is actually positioned about 20 feet, at least a car length, if not 25 feet from the stop line. The problem with this, and I will tell you, in these old neighborhoods, especially in Santa Barbara, this is a problem. The problem with this is I'm going to use this star to simulate a driver, okay? Coming from the other side. A normal driver sees nobody at the stop line, which is right here, right? And what does a normal driver do? They cut that line. Everyone cuts the frickin' line on a left turn. That's humans. Everybody does that. I'm not making excuses, just saying that's what humans do. You're supposed to drive out and then make your left. But people don't do that, okay? People don't do this because it takes more effort. They're just going, yeet. Okay? So, understanding that about humans is very important. 1. 2, understanding the distance of this stop sign from the actual stop line. Very important. Next, what else is very important to understand? After we pass this vehicle here that Ross dodged, after we pass this vehicle, you could see Ross take over, and then he adjusts the wheel right here by scrolling up. This is a way of telling the car to go faster, right? And Ross doesn't live in this area, so he doesn't know about this stop sign coming up. Dan probably does. There you go. You can see autopilot getting engaged, and the car set. It looks like it's set to a little bit faster than where we're going now. Yep. In fact, if you look very closely right here, you can see the 38. Then you'll see Ross's thumb roll up, pushes it to 40. The number on the right of the actual speed limit is, or the speed the car is going, is the top speed you're trying to set the car at. So you can see it got set to 40. He lets go. That leads the car to accelerate. What frustrated me is that the car should not be accelerating here. This was a problem for Tesla. I did not like this. When I saw it, even before the stop sign, I looked at this and I said, no. The car should not be accelerating here. The car does this. It happens sometimes, and I admit that. As an FSD driver, I am acutely aware of that. And I am acutely aware that in curves, in turns, Tesla will often turn late in certain areas. Now, don't take that out of context. It will not always turn late, often. In certain areas, it will just repeatedly make the same mistake, right? And it gets better and better and better. I'll give you an example. There's a lemon factory and then a railroad track and then a sharp turn. The recommended speed limit for that turn is 30 miles an hour. 3 years ago, my car would take that at 55, and then not until after the turn, and it was like basically out of its lane, realize it screwed up. Today, it slows to about 42, doesn't leave the lane anymore. That's pretty much more that's a lot closer to a human driver. I'd probably take that turn in about 38. So it's still a little on edge, but it's gotten substantially better. So if 38 is ideal, it used to do 50, and now it's at 42, it's getting better. But this stuff takes time, right? Obviously, it takes time. But I will say, when I first watched this video, I cringed because I'm like, no, the car should not be accelerating here. And this is not, in my opinion, and I don't know, but there are a lot of people speculating on the internet that are saying, oh, well, Ross's foot is on the gas pedal, and they're taking screenshots of Ross's foot or whatever. I don't believe that. I believe that not to say that he's accelerating. I believe that to say that a lot of FSD drivers leave their foot where the car is acting. So if the car is driving, you hover your foot over the gas. The reason people do that is a lot of people put their feet just flat on the floor, but that's not, in my opinion, as deal because it actually slows your reaction speed to get to the brake. I mean, just imagine it for a sec. Wheel, if your foot's hovering over the gas, it's a lot easier for you to step on the brake and move over because you don't have to lift your foot and then hit the brake. You just move over and step, right? It's like, it's one motion as opposed to two motions. Well, think about it. A stomp is like a lift and a step, whereas the move over and brake is kind of like one fell swoop, right? So a lot of FSD drivers actually do hover their feet over whatever the action of the vehicle is or is supposed to be at that time. So like if I'm coming up to a red light, I take my foot off the gas, I hover it over the brake. So that way if the car were to screw up or whatever, I brake. That's the point. You're still paying attention to some extent, right? It takes the whole point of FSD, at least at this point, in my opinion, with how few disengagements it has now, the whole point is to take a lot of that stress off of driving and really to be an assistant, to be a partner to your driving. Eventually, it'll just completely take over. And to many regards, it already has. But anyway, then, so I don't think Ross is hitting the gas here. This is the car accelerating. So you see this right here going from 33 and up. This is the car accelerating. Now, Ross actually, and this in my opinion is why Ross is not accelerating, is he feels the car is going fast. He feels the car going fast here. He knows he's coming up on a stop sign, and the car is accelerating. Watch Ross scroll down on this wheel. You're actually going to see that 40, the limit for the car, go down to about 38, 37. There's the scroll down. He actually takes it down to about 35. Now we see the stop sign, and you'll see Ross grab the wheel a little more firmly there with his right hand, whereas previously he wasn't holding. Now he's like, uh-oh, I might have to take over. I'm going to hold the wheel here. Keep in mind, there's the stop line about 25 feet after the stop sign. Now remember what I said about when people turn, they cut that line. I promise you this car is cutting that line, at least from what I see. That car is positioned almost perfectly to cut right over that S and the T of this. Now, it's hard to tell perfectly, but that car is not expecting a car to be at the stop line. If Ross were at that stop line, that car would have come out straight much more than it did. Look at the gap between this vehicle and this vehicle. These vehicles, see where this car stopped on the other side, right? See the car on the far side stopped, right? These cars should have virtually no gap between them. There's almost enough of a gap between those cars that you could fit a third car in between those two left-turning cars. And to picture that for a moment, on a narrow intersection like this, There should be no gap because everybody should be taking the turn appropriately. Let me draw that for you really quickly. So if I draw the intersection like this, oh my gosh, this reminds me of Police Explorer days. If we're going to go from this lane, and assuming there's a car at the stop sign, we actually make the correct bow. Let's use purple here. We should be having some kind of turn like this. And then you should be able to have another car at the same time do some kind of turn like this, right? There shouldn't be much of a gap between those two vehicles right here. There shouldn't be much of a gap. But because that white SUV took more of this approach, and then you kind of see them like course correct here because they see Ross come up, you actually get this look. Look at this. They turned more, and then they kind of straighten early and actually turn their wheels to the right. See, wheels turned left, turn their wheels to the right a little bit to avoid Ross because they were cutting him off. Worth noting. Now, sorry. I was supposed to switch back here. Yeah. Look at the wheels turn here. The wheels are ready to cut the line off. And then you could see the car's wheels turn somewhat to the right and straighten out there. So, is this an excuse for FSD? No. FSD screwed up. It went to that stop sign too fast. Absolutely a screw up. It should not have approached the stop sign that quickly. Absolutely not. I can't forgive what the FSD did there. Even though that stop line is 25 feet behind that stop sign, that was a mistake. The car went too fast. I believe it would have stopped, but I would have taken over as well. So, fair takeover. The car was going too fast. Ross realized it as well. That's why he scrolled the wheel back and slowed down. But unfortunately, the optics of that clip do not show you all of the context. Now, we need to get into Morgan Stanley, and we need to get into the Goldman Sachs downgrades. But first, it's quickly worth looking at some of the drama. Ross says, I will ask you nicely once to remove and discontinue false advertising that includes my image and likeness without my permission. Thanks, real Dan O'Dodd. Dan O'Dodd should have gotten a release signed by Ross before before putting this out there. But anyway, so Dan O'Dodd replies, then what will you do? Ask me not nicely, or will you demand a cage match? Anyway, Dan O'Dodd's going off on Twitter. He's, screaming, this video confirms Tesla full self-driving runs a stop sign. Your quick reaction saved us. Remember, the problem with the stop sign is the stop line is not visible in the video. And so it's a great opportunity for everybody to sort of bag on Tesla here. And it's, unfortunately for Ross, making the mainstream news. I think the Daily Mail was covering this with FSD and some other mainstream news agencies were blaming this FSD failure or whatever. So expect more drama about this. Again, with context, I think it's a little bit more understanding, but I personally think the car was just going too fast. That's my take. So what else do we have here? Steve, no, like, and then I want to get into this commentary here specifically about the downgrades. But no, Steve, of course you're going to course correct slightly to the right. But the point is, they would have. It's not like they swerved to the right. They were cutting off that stop sign. I don't think there's a question. They didn't see a vehicle there. So of course they didn't leave enough room, that SUV. I'm not saying the SUV is at fault here. I'm just saying it was a contributor to why the video looked the way it did. That's it. The Tesla does not acknowledge where the stop sign is, and you have to know that about the software. For example, somebody here says, when Tesla passed the stop sign ahead, it should have slowed down. I agree with you. I don't actually think it fully pays attention to those signs as much as it should. Just like it doesn't pay attention to the recommended speed in a turns lines. At least I don't think it does. Not in my experience. So I agree with you. But Teslas are looking for the stop line. And that's probably a problem. And I agree with you. It was going too fast there. So don't get me wrong. I agree with you. I agree with you that Tesla was going too fast. I want to make that clear. Now, let's get into some of these downgrades. So last week we had a Morgan Stanley downgrade. And going into today, we are getting a Goldman Sachs downgrade. Let's start with Goldman Sachs. GSACS. GSACS right here is inviting you. They're not, but I'm pretending they are. To check out the beautiful, sexy courses on building your wealth link down below with an expiration of the sexy coupon code on Friday. Prices will be going up because I'm releasing more lectures this weekend. And so we'll have a big coupon expiration again. My goal is always to just continue rewarding the existing course members. All right. So what do we have here? Tesla, downgrade to neutral with stock now better reflecting our positive long-term view. So usually what happens is these analysts frequently, I shouldn't maybe say usually, but frequently, the stock goes up, everybody upgrades the stock. The stock starts ticking down, they all downgrade to neutral. Stock goes down longer, they all go bearish. It seems like they follow price action. I don't know if it's the chicken or the egg, but let's look at what they're saying because it actually isn't that bearish. We think the market is now giving the stock more credit for longer term opportunities. We think there has been less price discounting from Tesla than investors feared for Q2. And vehicle inventories seem to be falling faster in Q2 than expected. In fact, I do want to say my Tesla referral code, when you go to metkevin.com/Tesla, it's jumped like 20%. It was like 98. Oh, more than that. It was like 98, and now it's at 127 Tesla referrals. So I think I made like 30 Tesla referrals in the last, I don't know, 30 days. It's kind of nuts. I could buy some more Tesla shorts. Or I could get like some Tesla models, which, check this out. Speaking of model, I have not shown this off yet. Look what came in the mail. I didn't pay for this. I bet this was expensive. But this was given to me by the person who sold me my plane. And it's a really cool gift. It is a custom model of the exact plane and the exact, I can't really get my camera to focus on it, exact plane and exact paint scheme of my plane. How cool is that? It's even got my future new tail number on it. 69 for PP. It's pretty cool. I love this thing. My kids are like, Daddy, let me play with it. I'm like, no, this is my toy plane. Mostly because Max, quick tangent. Max takes the planes and he's like, look, Daddy. I'm like, no. Anyway. Okay, so where were we? No, we still expect pricing to decline in the second half of 2023 as supply and demand come into more of a balance, says Goldman Sachs. But we are seeing more of an inventory sell-through in Q2 and less pricing pain than we expected, is what Goldman is suggesting here. They do suggest that the charging network and FSD will be limited near-term contributors to earnings per share, but more long-term beneficiaries for the stock. And they suggest that Tesla is well-positioned for long-term growth. I always think it's crazy that when you have these companies, these analysts are like, oh, this is a company that's positioned for long-term growth. And then they downgrade the stock. It's crazy. Anyway, third generation platform. Oh, right. These are the next catalysts, right? So they touch on Gen 3, your 50% vehicle cost reduction, trying to get to that $25,000 car, the Cybertruck. Oh my gosh. Have you seen the Cybertruck videos that have been circulating? If you haven't seen the Cybertruck videos, you're about to see the Cybertruck videos because they're showing the Cybertruck with the frickin' rear wheel rotating. And I'm like, I thought that was going to be clickbait. Not only moves like 10%, but this is like straight up Warthog. If anybody played Halo, and I'm talking the original, I'm talking OG, okay? I'm like Halo 1, Combat Evolved, baby. The enemy has captured Captain Keys, and they're holding him aboard an enemy group, whatever. Anyway, the Warthog's wheels turn in the back to help you make a turn. And this was remarkable to me. Just watch. The back wheel turns slightly as they make this tight turn. It's like, oh my gosh. See, the back wheel's turning out as the front wheel is turning right to tighten the turn radius. It's amazing. Amazing. So, anyway, back to where we were. Goldman Sachs EPS for this next cycle, not good. It's only at 275. The market has Tesla at 350 right now. And then you get to about roughly in line. So these are in line. This is very low. Very, very low. And they acknowledge that. I mean, they say slightly below. I'm like, no, like 15 to 20% below. It's not slightly, in my opinion, but whatever. They believe that Q2 deliveries are doing well, tracking for 445 to 450. The Tesla cars are awesome. They have efficiency. This opening the charging network is just going to actually help Tesla not only expand the pie of charging revenue, but create more charging stations. They did say that part of the reason for their downgrade, was that AMD and NVIDIA are now trading for 42 and 55 times the next 12 months earnings, and Tesla's sitting at 93 times. I think if you use the correct EPS, it's not that bad. But yes, all of these companies have gotten significantly more expensive. They were all under a 1.5 peg when I bought the crap out of them at the end of last year. Now, they're all above a 2 peg again. Peg is PE divided by growth. Anyway, expected growth. So, what about Morgan Stanley? Well, Morgan Stanley's got a piece too. But Morgan Stanley's always got a piece. Is that inappropriate? Anyway, so I just need to find it. Oh, oopsies. I put it on my other iPad. I have it. I'll have it in just one second. So, oh, here we go. So the Morgan Stanley downgrade was last week, end of last week. It's right here. So they have a price target of 250. They are moving to an equal weight. Their bull case is actually 450. 450 on the bull case. $90 on the bear case. So then we have, I did not see this 111% year-to-date rally coming, says Morgan Stanley. While the team has defended Tesla as an overweight rating, they didn't expect this. We are not trying to call the end of the Tesla rally. So in other words, they're just trying to say, like, we're not trying to be the bears here, okay? They actually call it a must-own stock in any EV portfolio. Quite frankly, I think it should be a must-own stock in any portfolio. Let me be clear for the regulators watching. I respect you. This is not personalized financial advice. This is broad market commentary. Anyway, some investors may feel inclined to play the positive momentum. We believe the stock upside from here must come, despite our view of continued downside skew. Basically, they're saying, look, you've got some near-term technical risks for the stock, probably contributing to their downgrade, but longer term, in their bullish scenario, it's you have to own it. And of course, they talk about TBD how the autonomous section of AI for Tesla FSD will play out. But take a look at this. This I thought was interesting. Despite the recent rally, we expect material negative revisions for Tesla consensus earnings forecasts and continue to expect a long-term trend of price decreases and average price declines at Tesla, driven by intensifying competition with Chinese EV players and slowing consumer auto purchases. So, Goldman said this as well. And what does Kevin say? Now, this isn't to say that Kevin knows everything. I definitely don't. I'm just saying, I think Tesla will go free cash flow negative and might have to raise money. Okay? I've said it before. I'll say it again. It doesn't make me a bear. but I do think there's a risk that there will be an offering of either shares, convertibles, some new debt financing. They've got way too many gigafactories building at the same time right now, with even more announcements coming. You got the expansion in Nevada, Northeast Mexico, Berlin, Texas. It's going to be very expensive. Anyway, so they're questioning, have we gone through the worst of it for Tesla? Do we still have some potential headwinds? I think we absolutely have headwinds. I actually think, though, that those are the remaining headwinds. So I want to be clear. If Tesla is, let's say, all right, you ready for this? Let's say over here, this is like a nasty, swampy, nasty, mosquito-filled marsh, okay? And the beautiful heavenly maiden and the sexy valley is over here this way, in that direction over there. You know, we're probably like right there, and there's still a bog monster right here. The bog monster is like, come into my pit. So in other words, you still have to get through this short-term negativity, which could be what I just said: an offering, negative free cash flow, a margin decline. These are all short-term. We know that Tesla is going to survive this. Obviously, we highly expect that. Like, we know that Tesla will make it here, past the bog monster. We know Tesla's going to make it there. We just don't know what this transition is like. Is it like this? Is it like we're going to skip over the bog monster? We're going to go through the bog monster? Or we're going to get bogged and then come out? Who knows? But once we get through that, the light's already there. It's just a matter of getting through that. It's my take. Stay away from the bog monster. Don't yell at me if there's a short-term correction. But of course, if it rallies, it was completely my doing. Just like when we convinced Elon to advertise and started the longest Tesla rally ever. Patting myself on the back, I did that. I'm taking all credit for it. Screw you! Okay, anyway. So, the rise of Chinese OEMs. Look, China's entire economy is slowing down. So, I do think there's a risk factor in China. There's a real risk in China, and Tesla does sell a lot of vehicles in China. Although we know that the Giga Shanghai is a big export market, it'd still be nice to sell them locally. It'll keep margins propped up. And so you do have some risks over here. Okay, cool. So what else do we have here? Tesla has been losing share in China since the peak of 2020. Losing share to who? Wait, I'm sorry. We have to fix the grammar. Losing share to whom? And that would actually be BYD. Remember, folks, okay? If the answer is to him, then it's whom. If it is to he, then it is who. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, I mean, BYD is obviously your killer over there, mostly because the hybrids are incredibly affordable. BYD's pure EV sales were declining relative to Tesla in Q1, but their hybrids are just so affordable, and with the crushed economy over there, it for some people, it just doesn't make the sense to make that leap to pure EV right now. Anyway. We think that Tesla might have been caught up in the AI multiple premium, given the recent wave of interest surrounding technology. Excuse me, where's the talk about Tesla being willing to advertise? And that being the catalyst? What is this? This is like ChatGPT trying to convince me the other day that Chris Hansen was the person who convinced Elon Musk to advertise. I chatted back to it. I'm like, WTF? Chris Hansen wasn't even there. And it's like, oh, my apologies. It was actually YouTuber Kevin Paffrath. I'm like, oh. Anyway, bear case here. They include Tesla Mobility at $0. Bear case is only 5.5 million units by 2030. 5.5 million units is like my expectation for like 2020. A little earlier than that, a few years earlier than that. Base case for them is actually 7.9 million units by 2030. And then they actually give them 10 million units by 2030 on the bull case, although you'll get some like Elon aiming for 20 million units. We shall see. Man, that Cybertruck might be a big hit. I'm excited about it. I mean, the more I see about the Cybertruck, the more excited I get about it, that's for sure. So, yeah, that's what I've got for the Tesla update. I'm going to go play with my pee-pee now. Here I go. Look at that. I'm going to end up dropping it. It'll shatter then. Actually, I think this is made out of carbon fiber. You know what else is made out of carbon fiber? Oh. Make sure to check out the programs on Building Your Wealth, link down below. And if you need life insurance, just go to metkevin.com/life, where you can Apple Pay and Android Pay and sign up within as little as 5 minutes. That's a paid promotion. Just like how I'm recording this video with StreamYard. metkevin.com/StreamYard. You want 12 free stocks? Go to metkevin.com/free. Because they're free. All paid promotions. Link down below.